Headlines of VTV News. Party Central Committee wraps up the 10th plenum. Vietnam actively contributing to multilateral diplomacy. And later on in our world news, storm Boris hits northern Italy, causing severe floods.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello and welcome to VTV News, broadcast live to you from Hanoi. You're with me, Lina Fatman. Here's the top news of the hour. The 10th plenum of the 13th Party Central Committee entered its third working day on Friday in Hanoi. In the morning of the session, the committee voted to elect 2 new members to its inspection commission. They are Ha Quốc Trị, Deputy Secretary of the Khánh Hòa Provincial Party Committee, and Đinh Văn Cường, head of the Department for Area 1 at the Inspection Commission Agency. The Party Central Committee also introduced candidates for the Politburo and Secretariat membership in the 14th term 2026 to 2031 and added some to the candidacy for the same term. In the afternoon, participants discussed and provided input on the proposal to establish Huế as a centrally run city. The agenda also included a summary of the 13 term's personnel work and the orientation for personnel matters in the next term. The 3-day session's resolution was adopted. After 3 working sessions, the 13th Party Central Committee concluded its 10th plenum on Friday. Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm delivered an important speech at the closing ceremony.
Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm stated that the Central Committee reached a strong consensus on the direction and tasks for socio-economic development in 2025 and aims to exceed most targets set for the 2021 to 2025 period by the 13th National Party Congress. He also noted that the Central Committee largely agreed on the main points of the draft documents, personnel matters, and several specific issues.
The Central Committee reached a strong consensus on enhancing development institutions, removing bottlenecks, and focusing on people and enterprises while developing science and technology and improving socio-economic infrastructure. Strategically, building a Vietnamese socialist model centered on socio-economic development and environmental protection is important. Maintaining independence, safeguarding national interests, protecting sovereignty, and developing modern armed forces are also crucial. It advocates for a foreign policy of independence, self-reliance, and active international participation while prioritizing cultural development and fostering national pride. In addition, it is essential to foster innovation in industrialization, modernization, and digital economy, and ensuring efficiency in national programs. In party building, the focus is refining organizational structures, enhancing institutional capacity, and incorporating digital transformation in party activities.
The Party General Secretary and State President emphasized that the Central Committee approved amendments to the party election regulations and assigned the Politburo to finalize them for timely promulgation. Regarding personnel matters, the Central Committee endorsed the submission and summary report on the personnel work of the 13th Party Central Committee Executive Committee and the personnel direction for the 14th Executive Committee. Additionally, the Central Committee approved the investment in the North-South High-Speed Railway project, the establishment of Huế as a centrally run city, and several other important issues.
Politburo member Lê Minh Hưng, Secretary of the Party Central Committee and Chair of the Vietnam-Japan Friendship Parliamentarians Group welcomed Special Advisor to the Japan-Vietnam Friendship Parliamentarians Alliance, Takabe Sutomu, on Friday. The Politburo member thanked Japan for its timely support in providing equipment for post-Typhoon Yagi reconstruction efforts and expressed his satisfaction with the positive development in the relationship between the two nations. He highlighted the recent phone call between General Secretary Tolam and Japanese Prime Minister Kishida Fumio as a key milestone. He proposed that the two parliamentary friendship groups continue strengthening their cooperation to elevate bilateral relations to new heights. On September the 20th, the president of the Vietnam Fatherland Front Central Committee, Do Văn Chiến, continued receiving donations for those impacted by Typhoon Yagi. Donations were contributed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Overseas Vietnamese Community, the Thai government, the Chinese Business Association in Vietnam, India's Adani Group, KN Group, Long Thành Golf Investment and Trading Joint Stock Company, and Honda Vietnam. By 5 p.m. on September the 20th, the Central Relief Mobilization Committee had collected 1.62 billion Vietnamese dongs in donations. Party General Secretary and State President Tolam will attend the UN Summit of the Future and the 79th session of the UN General Assembly. He will also pay a working visit to the United States. This trip marks his first visit to the United States on multilateral foreign affairs and the first working trip to the U.S. in his new position. The visit highlights Vietnam's commitment to promoting peace, stability, and sustainable development.
Over the past 50 years, Vietnam has significantly contributed to the UN's core peacekeeping, security, and development cooperation activities. The country has also held important positions within the UN and is highly regarded by the international community. At the 79th high-level session of the UN General Assembly, General Secretary and State President Tolam will emphasize the message of strengthening multilateralism and working together for a peaceful, stable, prosperous, and sustainable future for all.
It's a very important occasion because, as I referenced earlier, the key harvest of this year's high-level week will relate to the outcome of the Summit of the Future, which is targeted to be a game changer, and which the thrust of which really is to reinvigorate multilateralism.
The UN in Vietnam is very pleased to know that Vietnam will send a high-level delegation led by Party General Secretary and State President, His Excellency Tolam, to the 79th session of the UN General Assembly. Vietnam's participation is crucial to ensure access to affordable financing for sustainable development. Vietnam also adds its voice and leadership to the critical discussions on climate change.
During the trip, Party General Secretary and State President Tolam is scheduled to hold bilateral meetings with U.S. leaders as the two countries celebrate the first anniversary of their comprehensive strategic partnership.
The working visit offers an important opportunity for Vietnam and the U.S. to review achievements under the new framework and discuss measures to sustain their relationship's positive, stable, and substantive development in the coming years.
I never thought, as a historian of U.S.-Vietnam relations, that I would see a General Secretary and President visit the United States of America, New York City, and in particular Columbia University, where I teach. And I think it just augurs a really exciting new place, a new space for U.S.-Vietnam relations.
General Secretary and State President Tolam's trip reaffirms Vietnam's contributions to the largest multilateral forum and deepens relations with the United States. It strengthens commitments from senior leaders and promotes cooperation in economics, trade, investment, and technology.
Coming up next, policies issued to support businesses, people affected by storm and floods. And Lào Cai authorities step up efforts to evacuate residents in landslide-prone areas. You're watching VTV News. The government has directed the Ministry of Finance to exempt, reduce, and extend taxes, fees, and charges for individuals and businesses impacted by Typhoon Yagi and the floods and landslides following the typhoon. The ministry announced that businesses will receive a 2-year tax extension and a 30% reduction in the special consumption tax. Additionally, businesses, households, and individuals will be exempt from taxes.
Typhoon Yagi cost this business over 7.3 million USDs. The government's tax exemption reduction and extension policy is essential to recover from the damage.
This timely policy will provide our company with additional financial resources to quickly recover production. This policy helps businesses cover immediate costs to resume production and reduce their tax burden.
The General Department of Taxation has instructed municipal tax departments to guide organizations, individuals, and businesses suffering losses in accessing tax support. Tax departments in 26 cities and provinces have quickly realized the benefits of these policies.
Enterprises will receive extensions for tax payments and tax declarations. Personal income tax, special consumption tax, resource tax, non-agricultural land use tax, late payment fees, and administrative fines will be exempted.
We have published the necessary procedures and documents on our portal and provide direct guidance to taxpayers. Additionally, we address questions via phone or in writing.
However, the damage to businesses is significant and requires additional support. While the Disaster Prevention Fund has a nearly 854 million USD budget, most is allocated to areas not affected by storms and floods.
Regulations require the Provincial People's Committee Chair's approval for fund transfers between provinces. We propose that localities consider supporting affected areas if they have substantial remaining funds.
Enterprises in 26 localities continue to assess the damage to promptly propose support policies for restoring production and implementing social security measures.
State-owned banks have reduced interest rates and offered debt relief for customers affected by Typhoon Yagi. The preferential measures are implemented under the guidance of the State Bank of Vietnam to reduce the financial burden on individual customers and help domestic businesses overcome difficulties post-typhoon.
The State Bank of Vietnam on Friday ordered commercial banks to reduce interest rates, restructure debt repayment terms, postpone debt repayments, and provide new loans for individual customers and businesses affected by Typhoon Yagi. The move aims to help customers stabilize their lives and restore production and business activities.
We will cut interest rates by 0.5% to 2%, depending on each customer's damage scale.
The State Bank of Vietnam also ordered commercial banks to assess flood damages, reschedule repayment periods, maintain debt classifications, and consider waiving or reducing customer interest rates. In addition, commercial banks will offer preferential loans with low interest rates and provide new loans to help domestic businesses restore operations.
From September 1st to December 31st this year, our bank will reduce up to 50% of the current interest payable for customers affected by Typhoon Yagi. We will also reduce interest rates to 0% for those who suffer significant damage.
We have an aid fund of nearly $82,000 to support individual customers and businesses affected by the typhoon and floods. We will provide preferential loans with only 5.5% and 6% interest rates.
Preferential policies for typhoon-affected customers are expected to help individuals and businesses overcome the typhoon's consequences, resume operations, and create momentum for the country's economic recovery.
In Quảng Ninh province, all customs clearance activities have returned to normal, with capacity even reaching 130%. In addition to ensuring the smooth flow of goods, Quảng Ninh is also processing customs procedures for other border provinces affected by flash floods and landslides.
When Typhoon Yagi hit, leaders of the Mong Cái International Border Gate in Quảng Ninh province coordinated with their Chinese counterparts to close the border for 24 hours. Afterward, they proactively worked with partners to streamline import-export activities.
The border guards, customs officers, and medical staff are all working hard to create the best conditions for businesses to clear goods quickly and conveniently.
The Mong Cái International Border Gate has mobilized additional staff to increase its capacity.
We're focused on facilitating procedures for trade and avoiding congestion.
Not only is the trading of goods crucial, but immigration is also essential for residents on both sides of the border to return to normalcy.
We have created the best conditions to ensure that the operation of travel and import-export businesses can return to normal. People and passengers entering and exiting every day range from 10,000 to 15,000.
The swift return to normal operation at the Mong Cái border gate after the storm will directly boost economic recovery for people and businesses.
Storm number 4 in Vietnam has dissipated, but the lingering tropical convergence zone is still bringing heavy rain across the north-central region, particularly affecting provinces like Quảng Nam and Quảng Bình. The persistent downpours have led to flooding and landslides, causing significant damage.
In Dak Pri Commune, Nam Giang district, a hill has developed a large fracture stretching 120 meters. With depths ranging from 1.5 to 5 meters. Multiple hill sections are at risk of landslides, posing a serious threat to nearby homes. As of Friday morning, local authorities have evacuated all 11 households.
Heavy rain in Bo Trak district has isolated 9 areas, with floodwaters reaching depths of 1 to 5 meters in some places. In Minh Hoa district, over 600 households have been flooded. The Giang River in the Thuyen Hoa district has risen rapidly, causing 2 to 3 meter deep floods. So far, more than 800 households, totaling over 3,000 people, have been evacuated to safety. Floodwaters in Quảng Bình, including in Quảng Trach, Thuyen Hoa, Minh Hoa, and Bo Trak districts, are gradually receding. However, the Giang River remains at alert levels. The situation is still critical as more rain is forecast, particularly in Ha Tinh, where river levels are expected to rise. Heavy rain is predicted to continue in the next 2 days.
Heavy rain triggered by Typhoon Yagi has caused flash floods and large cracks in many mountainous areas in the Bat Sat district of Lào Cai province. Long and deep fractures pose a high risk of landslides, threatening hundreds of lives. Therefore, Lào Cai authorities have stepped up efforts to evacuate residents in landslide-prone areas to safer places as soon as possible. However, the relocation and resettlement process has faced many difficulties.
Flash floods and landslides triggered by prolonged heavy rain have swept away dozens of households and killed 15 people in the Bat Sat district. This house looks sturdy and durable compared to others in the village, but it is built on a slope vulnerable to landslides. Despite the risk, Dao's family hesitates to evacuate from the newly built house. Meanwhile, local authorities have tried to convince people in hazard-prone areas to evacuate to safer places.
This house was built in 2023, so I don't want to leave. However, if authorities recommend evacuating, we'll follow their instructions.
I'm afraid we won't have anything to eat, that we can't earn money to feed our children.
Protecting residents' lives is the most important thing. We have worked with related departments and localities to speed up the search for safe places for relocation and resettlement. To prevent threats from widespread landslides, authorities have utilized communal houses as temporary accommodation for residents who need to be relocated.
I work in the field during the day. In the evening, my family gathers at a communal house for the night. Sleeping here is safer than sleeping at home, and the authorities are very kind and supportive.
As major roads have been blocked or damaged by landslides, local officers have to travel dozens of kilometers on bumpy and muddy roads to visit households in vulnerable areas. The relocation and resettlement process has been accelerated to ensure the safety of all residents.
Honung, situated within Con Đảo National Park in Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu province, has been officially recognized by the Vietnam Record Organization as a seabird sanctuary with the highest breeding density in Vietnam, covering approximately 2 hectares. Honung, also known as Hòn Đá Bạc or Hòn Phú Thọ, attracts around 10,000 migratory seabirds each year from April to October, with an impressive average nesting density of 8.88 eggs per square meter. Previously, Con Đảo National Park earned a recognition as a Ramsar World Site and became part of the Indian Ocean and Southeast Asia Marine Turtles and their Habitat Conservation and Management Network, or IOSEA. It has also been certified as an ASEAN Heritage Park by the ASEAN Center for Biodiversity. Additionally, the Vietnam Record Book Center acknowledged Con Đảo as the leading site for raising, hatching, and releasing sea turtles into the wild in Vietnam. Coming up next, Storm Boris hits northern Italy, causing severe floods. And Lebanese express fear over device explosions. 2 people are missing and about 1,000 people have been evacuated from their homes after devastating floods and landslides hit the northern Italy region of Emilia-Romagna. The flooding was brought on by Storm Boris, which had earlier wreaked havoc in Central and Eastern Europe, killing at least 24 people. At least 800 residents in Ravenna and nearly 200 people in Bologna province spent the night in shelters, schools, and sports centers as local rivers overflowed. Firefighters have carried out more than 500 rescue operations in the region, including using helicopters to lift people from flooded homes. Italy is among Europe's climate risk spots. This summer alone, it has endured unprecedented heat waves, drought, wildfires, storms, and severe flooding. Lebanese citizens in Beirut expressed their growing concerns after multiple device blasts across the country. Social media users have shared posts with pictures of electronic devices they fear could explode if hacked.
Electronic devices exploded in South Beirut and other parts of Lebanon for a second day on Wednesday, resulting in casualties and fires. 20 people were killed and more than 450 wounded in Wednesday's attack. On Tuesday, thousands of Hezbollah pagers exploded, killing 12 people and wounding nearly 3,000. The 2 attacks coming so close together has left many in Lebanon worried about their use of electronic devices and the state of the country's security situation.
We're scared. My children, my siblings' children, all of us. Who can feel safe in this situation? We have 5,000 injured in just 2 days. This isn't a small matter, it's war. Who can even secure their phone now? When I heard about what happened yesterday, I left my phone on my motorcycle and walked away.
I'm scared of the mobile phone. I carry it, but I'm afraid of it. This has become an international issue now. We're the victims caught in the middle.
Lebanese authorities prohibited passengers traveling from Beirut Airport from transporting any pager or walkie-talkie device aboard planes on Thursday. While experts and security sources said the blasts appeared to be the result of explosives planted inside Hezbollah devices, many people decided to avoid crowded places or neighborhoods where Hezbollah holds sway.
The Bangkok Metropolitan Administration on Friday announced new regulation outlining updated criteria and conditions for street vending on public roads and spaces. The guidelines aim to enhance public safety, ensure pedestrian access, and improve the management of street vending. Under the new rules, only low-income Thais will be allowed to be street vendors in Bangkok, and they will be barred from employing migrants. On streets with fewer than 3 lanes, vendors must leave at least 1.5 meters for pedestrians. Street vendors must have Thai nationality, hold government welfare cards, pay installments for houses built by the National Housing Authority, and receive welfare allowances from the Ministry of Social Development and Human Security. In addition, they must be included in the Revenue Department's annual taxation system. Their income must not exceed 300,000 Thai baht a year after deducting business-related costs on their tax returns. The South Korean National Police Agency have announced it would invest $6.8 million over the next 3 years to develop technology for detecting defect, voice cloning, and other fabricated content. In addition, the police agency will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to upgrade their current software for monitoring deepfake and other AI-generated videos. The 2025 budget plan also includes the establishment of a fund worth more than $750,000 to reward those who provide tips on organized crimes such as online gambling or phishing schemes. And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store, Google Play, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4Go. See you again at 3 p.m. local time. Goodbye for now.